You know, when we think about the US-Italy relationship, our minds usually go to history, culture, maybe some amazing food. But there's this incredibly powerful economic story that often gets overlooked. So today, we're going to dig into a brand new study that pulls back the curtain on just how strong and, frankly, how surprising this partnership really is. Okay, so here's our game plan. First up, we're going to get a handle on the sheer scale of this thing. We're talking big numbers. Then we'll pinpoint exactly where Italian companies are setting up shop in the US. After that, we'll look at how this is a two-way street, with benefits flowing in both directions. We'll also tackle the real-world challenges and opportunities. And finally, we'll touch on the human element that really ties this whole story together. All right, let's kick things off with the big one. This is the headline number that really frames everything else we're going to talk about. It gives you an immediate sense of the massive scale we're dealing with here.
There it is, $140 billion. That's the estimated revenue that Italian companies generate right here in the United States every single year. I mean, just let that sink in. It's an absolutely immense economic engine.
And it's not just about revenue, right? Money is one thing, but jobs are another. That economic engine supports up to 300,000 jobs for American workers. That is a huge direct contribution to families and communities all across the country.
Now, these aren't just numbers we're pulling out of thin air. They come from a really deep strategic study that analyzed over 150,000 data points. So the big question is, where is all this activity happening? The way it's distributed is actually pretty interesting.
Okay, so let's zoom in a bit. Where exactly is this Made in Italy stamp having the biggest impact here in the USA?
You might think Italian businesses are spread out pretty evenly, but the data shows something else. Nearly half, 47%, are concentrated in just 5 states: New York, Florida, Delaware, California, and Texas. These places have become these incredible economic hubs for Italian industry. So what are all these companies actually doing? Well, while you might think of fashion or food when you hear Made in Italy, the undisputed king here is manufacturing. It is the industrial heart of this partnership, dominating both in the number of companies and the revenue they generate.
But here's the thing, this is absolutely not a one-way street. The economic relationship between the US and Italy is more like a dynamic two-way superhighway, with goods and capital flowing at high speed in both directions. Let's take a look.
Check this out. For Italy, the US market is a massive growth engine. You can see right here that Italian exports to the US have grown way faster than their exports to the rest of the world. It just goes to show how crucial the American consumer is to the Italian economy. And guess what? It's the exact same story, but even more dramatic in the other direction. American exports to Italy have surged, growing at nearly double the rate of total US exports. It shows this really powerful mutual demand for each other's goods. You know, this mutual interest isn't just about shipping boxes back and forth. It's about long-term commitment. We're seeing billions of euros in foreign direct investment. That's companies building factories, opening offices, flowing in both directions. That is a huge vote of confidence in each other's economies. Okay, but it can't all be perfect, right? I mean, entering a market as huge and competitive as the US has got to have some challenges. So what are the biggest hurdles Italian companies face when they try to set up shop here? Well, the study boils it down to 3 big things. First, you've got to figure out American consumers, what they want, how much they'll pay. Second, you have to navigate this incredibly complex web of regulations, like FDA rules. And third, the cost of just doing business can be 30 to 50% higher than back in Italy. These are serious obstacles. But here's the flip side. The US has this really unique system. The states are basically competing against each other to attract businesses. They offer incentives, they're flexible, they roll out the red carpet to try and bring in those jobs and that investment. And on top of that, the federal government is pouring staggering amounts of money into key areas. We're talking trillions for infrastructure, green energy, and tech. These just happen to be areas where Italian companies have world-class expertise. It's a huge opportunity. Okay, so we've talked about billions of dollars and thousands of companies. But behind all of that, there's a really powerful human element to this story that you just can't measure on a spreadsheet. We're talking about the Italian-American community. The study points out that they act as this incredible bridge between the two countries. They help break down cultural barriers, they build trust, and they basically help promote the reputation and quality of Made in Italy. And get this isn't just a nice cultural story, it has a direct, measurable impact on the bottom line.
Research shows a clear link. When an immigrant community grows, exports from their home country grow even faster. It's a powerful economic force multiplier.
So looking ahead, what about bumps in the road? Things like potential trade tariffs. Well, this is where that resilience really matters. Italian firms have a history of adapting. They're already making moves to get ahead of potential issues because the demand for Italian excellence is just that strong.
So what's the big takeaway here? This isn't just a strong relationship. It's a partnership that's actively outperforming global trends. It's built on a rock-solid industrial base, deep mutual investment, and this incredible human connection. Which leaves us with one final thought. In a world where everything seems to be changing, can this powerful partnership not only survive, but actually adapt to become even stronger? The data certainly suggests it has a fighting chance.